Welcome back to another episode of the New Era Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Variant, with your other co-host here, A23, and we are talking about Loki episode 4 today, breaking it down, talking about Easter eggs, theories, what the hell is going on, and really just kind of to catch you up to date and give you a good explanation of, like I said, what the hell is going on, because that is exactly what I said after this episode. Logan, I think we went a little bit overboard last week, same as everybody, about the whole, is this real? Is it not? We went a little overboard with is it all an illusion? Things like that. We were dipping our toes into the
Oh yeah.
WandaVision Mephisto waters, but this episode snapped us right back, kind of let us know, hey, guys, we're pretty much showing you, because we know how trippy this series can get.
Yeah.
What seems like it is real is probably going to be real. Except when it comes to a major player called the Timekeepers. But Logan, before we get into that, give me your overall thoughts.
Holy shit. I just texted somebody, and you also texted me this morning. You leave work right now. You have to watch this, and I was tempted. I almost did. Yeah. I told other people that, like, right when I watched it, I was like, this single episode. In I'll give you props for saying this but I agree with it. This is the single best in MCU installment since, I would say, probably Winter Soldier.
Oh wow. You're
Like
going all the way, back to Winter Soldier.
it's phase 4 for sure. This was like end game level, Winter Soldier level, and it was only 40 what well, runtime of the actual episode was probably only 36-38 minutes.
Yeah, that's going to be a hot take. I know I texted you that it's my favorite thing that Marvel's put out since Endgame. So this one singular episode, I'm talking alone, not even the whole
Right.
series right now. I'm just talking this one specific episode. Dude, I'm putting it above the last Spider-Man movie.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
it was insane. I don't know if I'd go as far back as Winter Soldier.
Definitely not better than
That's
Winter
another
Soldier.
discussion, but dude, it tops a lot of their stuff, and it is crazy, absolutely insane that from a story-wise standpoint, from a production-wise standpoint, as well as just a world-building standpoint, this 45-minute episode is better than most of the movies. Like, it's insane.
Right. And that it was so crazy the way that they were able to put so much together, just based on, I would say, honestly, the last 15 minutes of that episode. Truly, I'm sitting there in my seat going, wow, okay, well, hold on. Hold on, it's enough slices, if catch the TikTok reference. But truly, I mean, just everything from the time that Mobius and Loki snap back in, I would say even maybe a little bit before that, I'd say that was some of the wildest shit that the MCU has thrown at us, in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So let's take it from the top then, and we'll kind of do a linear breakdown and just kind of talk about the things that are going on. Obviously, the beef of this is going to be in that last 20-minute period.
Right.
So it kicks off right away with Sylvie's, backstory, what happened to her, things like that. We come in a swooping visual into Asgard from the back, which was pretty cool. We've never seen Asgard from that angle before, which is pretty sweet. And we see little kid Sylvie playing with some toys. I think a lot of us growing up had that actual pirate ship type toy. It has those. It's not Lego. I forget what it's called, but it has like the pirates and knights with like the cupped hands.
Mega
But
Blocks?
no, not Mega Blocks. I'll have to look back. But she's
Right.
playing with the toys, and then the TVA agents come out of the portal, swipe the kid. I mean, they're pulling a Star Wars here. They're saying this kid, get him out
Fuck
of here.
them
Causing too much
kids.
trouble playing with their toys. But it was pretty cool. It
Well,
was toys.
it's
Yeah, go
actually
ahead.
funny. I just got a real quick. I know we haven't gotten into Easter eggs, but since we're bringing up, she was playing with toys. She was actually reenacting Valkyrie. Just a
Yes.
tiny
Yes.
little thing in there, but go ahead and continue. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, all good. I was actually just about to talk about that. The toys specifically. She was playing with the dragon and a Valkyrie warrior, which, a lot of people are saying the dragon is probably from the one that we saw in Ragnarok, something like that. There was also a giant toy wolf next to the ship. Again, just another Ragnarok Easter egg. So it was pretty cool with the actual specific toys she was playing with. So we see her then go through the TVA exactly the same way Loki did, but
Right.
just from a child's perspective. So what do you kind of think on this opening, giving her backstory and her rivalry with the judge?
One thing I thought that was hilarious was she was single-handedly able to disarm and dismantle the entire TVA. When adult Loki, the only Loki we've known up to this point, the god of mischief, the all-powerful Loki, couldn't even dream of doing. Tried to escape. I mean, he eventually did escape, but with the help of Sylvie. But Sylvie did it point blank. Period. Stomped on Ravana's foot, kind of give her the little arm twist, grab the what is that damn thing called?
Her temp
Temp
pad.
pad. Stole the temp pad, opened up a portal, gone in an instant. She was on the run ever since. But
Yep.
in terms of that opening scene, I'm glad we didn't need any more backstory on her, I guess, because there wasn't much. She was a child, so they did a brilliant job of
Exactly.
kind of saying, here's what happened. And you know what she's been up to since. She's been hiding in apocalypses. I don't know what the plural of that is, but you know,
Apocalypse.
apocalypse, apocalyptus, whatever you want to say. But yeah, so and then we kind of get into, and then we go to Lamentus 1,
Well,
where
hang on before we go there, Logan. It's in your name. I don't know if you caught this Easter egg, but within Sylvie's backstory, we also get Ravonna Renslayer's backstory as well, and
right,
we see that he is a TVA soldier labeled like you are
A23,
A23.
baby.
Now she was labeled A23 because the character Ravonna Renslayer first appeared in Avengers Comics number 23,
With who?
and Kang the Conqueror.
Let's go, baby.
It is a Kang the Conqueror story that she first appears. So super cool Easter egg there with her TVA assigned number. You got to slip that one in. So awesome Easter egg there.
All right, screw it. Let's get into it. I'd say he's confirmed.
He's got to be confirmed.
Right.
Oh, I totally missed the other part. When I obviously you have to see the ending of this episode to realize what I'm about to say, but when they're first bringing people in through the TVA, like Loki, and they have them walk through that machine that takes a snapshot of their tempora or their soul, they ask, are you a robot? Are you an android, an AI? Basically, if you are, they vaporize you. And I think it's because the timekeepers are robots. They're androids. And if they let another android in there, I think it would be able to tell, like if Ultron somehow got into the
Oh.
TVA, Ultron would know in an instant that those are just animatronics sitting on a chair. But the people, living creatures, can't really tell that. So I think that's why they just vaporize machines and robots.
Fucking A. Hell of a catch. I like
Thank
that.
you.
Hell of
Thank
a
you.
catch. But yeah, so just kind of moving right on through it. You know, I kind of have an odd, not theory, but it seems as though they are hunting Lokis. And I say that because why would they go get Sylvie as a child?
Right.
She
What
and
could she possibly have done that was a Nexus
right,
event?
other than being a Loki. And then we see in the first, now this could be kind of just digging and just kind of reaching at shit that's not there. But in the first episode, we see a guy in the background who kind of looks like a chubby Loki. So and I saw some theories floating around that it's possible that every single person that works for the TVA is a variant, and furthermore that they are a Loki in and of themselves. I don't know how to buy, or they are a Loki themselves. I don't know how far I buy into that, but it seems as though there's a theme, because now at the end of this episode we have 3 more Lokis that have been pruned. Which and four, excuse me, with the gate. With
Don't forget alligator Loki.
I know, and you know what? That's gonna make a hell of a plush toy. I'll give Disney its credit where credit's due. They know how to make a damn toy. But it seems as though they are going after Loki very, not necessarily exclusively, but they seem to be trying to prune every single version of Loki they find. So it gets you to kind of think, well, what? And Mobius does bring up that point in, I think it's the first or the second episode. He kind of tells Loki, you're destined to be bad. You are not destined to be good. So maybe that's why they're trying to prune any Loki in any timeline. Maybe Loki is just synonymous with variant. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. I know we're pretty set, you and I are pretty set on Kang the Conqueror being the big bad, or at least getting introduced or having something to do with this series. But in a very similar way to what you're talking about, I've seen theories that really asking the question, who created the timekeepers? And one of the theories is that this superior or the ultimate or old man Loki created the timekeepers to manage this TVA. And since Loki, that we know, is so concerned about always winning, always being right, he thinks that the only one that is capable of taking him down would be himself. And this is why he created the timekeepers and TVA as an army to go out and just get rid of all the other Lokis to make sure that his power never falls.
That would be so fun, would it not?
It really would be a cool theory. And I really do see the possibilities of it, considering that just based off the first 2 Disney series, we basically got variants without getting variants. We got Vision and White Vision, then we got Captain America and John Walker, kind of similar, but these series are really focusing in on the main characters, the title card characters. And other than even WandaVision, they had Agatha Harkness, but they haven't really introduced a Thanos level threat or something like that. So looking at the trends, it almost makes it look bad for our guy Kang. But I really would like to see Kang. But at the same time, it'd be really cool if Loki invented this timekeepers TVA that all these other Lokis are trying to destroy.
Right, and that was kind of my first thought when Sylvie threw the sword through the central timekeeper, who you and I both, always were saying, back in previous episodes, that kind of looks like Kang, and kind of seeing them in person, you kind of look at all of them and you go, well, that also kind of looks like Kang, and the one on the right also has
timekeeper. It's also been very specifically designed in this to look like Jonathan Majors, who's casted for Kang. So they definitely
So, but
it just makes sense that it would be him.
That is where my brain first went. Was as soon as Sylvie threw her sword cut the head off, and you could see that it didn't do anything, and then all of a sudden she picks it up. It's animatronics, and I'm going, Loki's gonna do something. He's gonna be like, well, you fell for the trick. This is all me. I did all this. Now it didn't go that way, and I'm glad it didn't, because we're only in the 4th episode, and I didn't know if it was gonna. But that's just kind of the first place my brain went to, was either Loki himself, our protagonist in the show, was going to say, yep, it's all me. This was all me, and I'm just trying to catch you. Or another Loki was going to walk out, similar to Wizard of Oz, was going to walk out from behind the scenes and kind of say, hey, it's me. You know what I mean? So
it's me, Loki, baby.
Oh, do you guys want to hear my impression of Loki?
Yes.
Okay.
The crowd said yes.
Hey, Sylvie, it's me, Loki.
Nice. I'm glad you said Wizard of Oz, though, because in the episode when we first saw the timekeepers talking to Ravonna, it was very smoky in there. It's getting smoky in here. You couldn't really see them. And that's exactly what I thought. I was like, this is very Wizard of Oz like.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is going to be similar, like they're not really there. And then I thought to myself, just watch the episode. Don't get ahead of yourself. It's not going to be that. They are actually there. Don't think like that. Don't take your episode 3 mindset into this. Just take it for
Right.
what it is. And then we actually see them and they're talking and everything. And I was like, oh shit, they actually are real. And then yeah, boom, they're not. And it's like, oh, it actually was a Wizard of Oz move.
Well, here's one thing I will say. I couldn't understand a damn word they were saying. I don't know if they did that mixing on purpose the way they did with the reverb, but I have a relatively large subwoofer in my living room, so I don't know if it was messing with that, but I couldn't understand a damn word they were saying.
Okay.
Like, eventually, after they were done saying what they were saying, I could kind of piece it together, but like I don't know, maybe my ears just need cleaned. But anyway, yeah, it was
Maybe. I really didn't have a problem, but I also am team subtitles, so I watch everything with subtitles on it.
right.
So
Yeah.
that always helps a lot. And also with things like this and shows like this, you catch a lot of really cool details in the subtitles too. So they always
Yeah.
throw things like that in there. So
Well, I
like
can't.
at the very end, in that mid-credit scene when Loki says, "Am I dead? Am I in hell?" Another Easter egg. The subtitles did hell, HEL. So it's the Asgardian hell, not what we consider hell. And it's really cool because that is the planet or realm where Odin imprisoned Hela, where she broke out of during Ragnarok. So little things like
Oh,
that you can catch in the subtitles.
right. Okay. I kind of want to talk about that loop that Loki gets trapped in with Ms. Is that her name, right? What is her
Oh,
name?
her name is escaping me right now. Civ. It's Civ.
Civ, not Ms. I'm so sorry to everybody listening. Civ. I thought that was awesome because that did play on the ancient Norse mythology, and in the comic books, use how she has a lock of hair, not Norse, but in that realm of mythology with Thor and Odin, and in the actual mythology,
That's Norse.
it is okay. So
Yeah.
the god of mischief, named, I think he might have been named Loki in actual Norse
Mhm.
mythology, but he
Yeah, no,
dies.
the whole thing Marvel has done is literally almost
Right.
like word for word from that.
So historically, I do believe, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but that is a bit of an homage to Loki dyeing her hair from blonde to black. So in mythology, he doesn't cut it, but he dyes it from blonde to black, and it's kind of like one of those little homages to actual, I guess, history, because we didn't get a lot in this episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. There's also a comic line where Loki actually takes over Sif's body and becomes Lady Loki that way. So
Oh,
that's also
okay.
a fun comic line. She's also, I believe, she's been confirmed to be in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Okay.
So we haven't seen her since Thor: The Dark World. She
Right.
wasn't in Ragnarok or any of the other ones, so we don't really know if she got blipped or whatever, or where the hell was she in Endgame. So
I did read that she was blipped. So she did
okay,
get blipped.
cool.
I don't know why she didn't come out, why we didn't see her coming out of the blip with all of the rest of, the MCU players.
Wong,
So
we could have used more, man. We could have
right,
used more.
right. However, Marvel always has a plan for people. So, we don't know what she was doing. We're going to find out, come the next Thor movie, we're going to go, oh shit. Yep. She was there the whole time. So, how they do that so well. You want to talk about that end credit scene and just a couple things we noticed?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pulling up do you want to pull up the picture right now so we could
Yeah.
just
I
point some
think
things
I,
out?
I think I have it open. Da, 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 da.
But yeah, so the mid-credit scene, which we finally got one, which also leads me to believe that next week we will also get a single mid-credit scene, and then the finale will probably get a mid-credit scene as well as a post-credit scene. I believe that's just kind of how they're going to handle this one. But
Right.
Let's go. We're with 3 episodes with mid/post credit scenes. I'm pumped about it. Yeah. So go ahead, take us away, boss.
Let's talk about what the mouse is circling at this very moment right here. I think
Oh,
we
is
can
that
all.
Avengers Power?
I think it is, Tommy. So
It
this appears
absolutely is.
this appears to be the ruins of New York. This is obviously, spoiler alert. You guys should understand by the time you're at this episode, we're giving an explanation in theory. So Loki, there's going to be spoilers, but here we have our mid-credit scene, end credit scene. But we see that this
And a
appears to be
trailer for Black Widow.
right. This appears to be
Oh,
the
no, it's a
fall.
Loki one.
Yeah. This appears to be the fall of New York, and we have our 4 Lokis here. We have old Loki, we have kid Loki, and then we have this was oh god, I know that he
Yes.
was
So in the credits, he was listed as prideful or boastful Loki,
boastful, correct,
which
and
is really interesting because he is holding a variant version of Mjolnir.
right, and he's the only Loki version or variant now that we know of that was actually able and worthy and capable of wielding Mjolnir, or as we see, a somewhat different form of it. We also see
Yep.
that this looks nothing like Loki, like anything a Loki would be wearing, because as we see with the kid, he's got some sort of horns up here on his helmet. The alligator obviously has his horns. Old Loki has his, but there are no horns to be found on our prideful or
He looks
boastful
very,
Loki.
very like classic Viking look to him.
Right, which is what we know Thor as.
Yes, exactly. And going off of that, even cooler into this is that we know whoever is able to or worthy of wielding Mjolnir then gets to possess the powers of Thor.
Right.
So this variant could be incredibly, incredibly powerful and have way different abilities than the Lokis that we know.
So we don't get copyright stricken. Just want to give credit to the writer of this episode. This was done on CNET by Sean Keane. Sorry, Sean. I'm just using, you'll never see this, but I'm just using your article here for this picture. However, I did read this article today. Great work. If you're just stumbling upon this, please don't sue us. We just, needed the picture. But
he's gonna see this, sue us, and we're only gonna have like 7 views on it.
We're gonna get that's a big YouTube. We're coming for you. But great article though, by the way. Hope you don't mind us using this here, but this is super interesting. Do you notice? I mean, I that's kind of where I left off. I mean, is there anything else in there worth talking about?
Yeah, I mean, so the old man Loki, or classic Loki, he's actually played by Richard E. Grant, obviously a huge actor. This has been rumored to happen for a long time, and I think this is where the theory of an old man Loki ruling the timekeepers and being in charge of all that kind of came from, because there were all these rumors about him getting casted as an old man Loki. But now we see him here, so I don't know if that necessarily takes that theory off of the table.
Right.
But it is really cool that he is in his very classic costume, his comic book accurate costume, which I know I have the glare, but this is a Thor poster. He wears that in those, and it basically looks like a cosplay or Halloween costume. I think it's awesome because we got to see that in WandaVision as well, where they went back to their super comic accurate costumes. The other major thing for me that this verifies and solidifies is that we now know that in this multiverse, variants are not identical twins. They're very different from each other. They don't have to look alike. We can clearly see that. They don't even have to be the same species. So this totally, I think, confirms and sets in stone that Spider-Man's going to be a multiverse movie with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and of course Tom Holland, because now we know that like the same actor doesn't have to play the same version of the character, which is super cool. And then of course in Spider-Verse we saw Spider Pig, and now we have Alligator Loki, or I actually heard someone call him Loki dial.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
I
So I
absolutely
can't really
love it.
tell there if it's a alligator or a crocodile. So
Well,
we'll have to
actually, let's
be on the
talk about
lookout.
this one. Yeah, no, I consider myself a bit of an expert in animals and reptilians. That, my friend, is the American alligator. It's native
There you
to
have it.
Florida and Southern America, as we can see here. By the snout of the animal here, we have a not so elongated, definitely long. They definitely have a snout, but you can tell by the rounded shovel of the snout that that is a gator. That's only known to gators. Alligator or crocodiles have much more elongated and thin snouts, and caimans as well. So that was Logan's zoology lesson of the week. Be looking forward to those for next week if we have another animal on. But
Another animal Loki, something maybe like a goat with actual horns or something. But I love his
pretty
little
cool.
crown. It's hilarious.
No, absolutely, that's adorable.
There aren't actually, so this might be another Easter egg. There with alligator Loki, there aren't actually any alligator versions of Loki in the comics.
Right.
However, it might be a nod to the one comic storyline where he actually turns Thor into a frog. So another reptile type animal. So that could be a little nod at what that is, which if we get to see the Thor frog, that'd be incredible.
It'd be awesome.
Throg is actually what he's called. So
well, sticking with the four letter name, it just rolls right off the tongue. Kid Loki. What do we know about him? Also, I think it's hilarious that old Loki is here. I think he's going to be a source for our comic relief here. I know that Tom Hiddleston and the main character of Loki does a great job, but I do think of those guys, he's definitely going to be, the comic relief of everything. But going back to that point, why are there so many Lokis being hunted?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I have absolutely no idea. Maybe this has something to do with Sylvie's plan.
Right.
Maybe she's done something to where, we see a lot of people getting pruned this episode. Maybe she's done something so that when Lokis ultimately get pruned, they just go to this, wherever this place is. I think either next episode or the finale, we're going to get that President Loki and what I would assume maybe even a couple other versions of Loki. So maybe she did something in her plan. It's been years in the making where, if this does happen, they just kind of get sent here and then they can find a way to continue on with their plan and get back at it. So maybe the TVA is so concerned about her specifically and they didn't just prune her right away because they know she just comes back.
Right. Yeah, I think I do think that's a really good point, and it seems as though
I literally just came up with that on the spot.
Well, I got one that I'm coming up with right now, but it seems as though, she's been kind of one step ahead of the game, and this kind of plays into your point. It seems as though she's been pretty one step ahead of the game, and it's kind of like, maybe this is all part of her plan. She only seems a little worried at one point in the episode, and that's when they kind of are reunited before taking the golden elevator up to meet with the timekeepers, as she kind of looks at him and looks at Loki and, are you okay? And, to which he responds, yes. But then everything else, it seems like she's pretty cool, calm, collected until her and Ravana have, have their little standoff at the end. And she goes, final words of the episode until the mid-credit, you're going to tell me everything.
Right.
So, and maybe that was her end game and she doesn't give a shit where Loki is. There's a very high possibility that her plan is just to find out who the timekeepers were, kill them, and she doesn't need Loki. She didn't seem to need Loki to start with. The only thing that's keeping Loki around is the love interest that she has for him. So, as we know, Loki's very self-centered and she is Loki for all intents and purposes.
Right.
So, could she just say, nah, screw it, I don't need him, and try to go on without him, or,
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think that they made it pretty clear that at least these two variants have some sort of very close connection and a loving relationship. Now, I don't think a lot of people are saying like romantic relationship. Obviously, Mobius, RIP, he was joking around with Loki around a lot about it being like, you want to date yourself? It's almost like like a what are you doing, stepsis kind of thing. But I don't think that this relationship is romantic in any way. I think that their connection and what ultimately caused their Nexus event was them being able to realize that they're not actually alone, and that maybe they aren't necessarily truly evil beings. And this is super meta, but being able to love themselves for the first time, and was strong enough and powerful enough to create that huge Nexus event that they've never even seen before. So
Right. And
very
why?
meta. You know, this isn't you, but at the same time it is. And if you can love them, you can love yourself, which we
Right.
know from our Loki that we've been following, he's never been able to do that.
Well, and you know, I think playing into your point, why are they trying to beat into his head so bad that he is alone with the continuous time loop with Civ? Why is that specific thing that she is saying? Why? And you know, even when he kind of gets her off her game in this loop, she still makes sure to say and manages to say, "You are alone, and you always will be." So why is it that they're trying to convince him so hard that he is always going to be alone? What's, you know, what is that all about? What's the, you know, what's the agenda behind that necessarily? And I agree. I think Loki realizing that he's not alone is, you know, what is causing the Nexus event. But I do think that it is a love interest kind of thing. I do.
Okay.
I think, you know, if there is, you know, I kind of have it in my notes here. Of course, you know, Loki is in love with himself, because if you think about it, the only woman probably good enough for Loki is the female version of himself. You know, and the Drake song, you know, X bitch, she the female version of me. You know what I mean?
I was literally saying those lyrics in my head as you were saying it. You took the words right out of my mouth. But no, it's even going off that even further. It's super interesting when he's in that time loop with Sif. He even gets on his knees and he's like, I'm a narcissist. I'm addicted to the attention and getting it all for myself. Like I'm so addicted to myself and things like that. So I think they are definitely playing into that theme. And then once they do kill the timekeepers or chop off the robot head, realize that they're fake and that there's even another higher level that they have to figure out still. He tries to recreate the Nexus event with Sylvie to eliminate this timeline, because they were super close to it happening before. So if they do it now, Ravona's gone, all these agents are gone. So why can't, like, who's going to stop them? What's going to stop it from happening? And also it's in the TVA, so it's just going to blow up. Let's do it here. But of course, right before he does, he gets pruned.
Right. So I guess, I mean, moving forward, who are the timekeepers? Give me your definitive best answer. Who are the timekeepers, or who is the timekeeper?
Yeah. So we still haven't discussed one major player in the game, and it's called He Who Remains. Now, he is the very original thing being. He's not like a person. He's more of just like an alien being that created the TVA and the timekeepers in the comics. So it's really hard to say. There's a lot of storylines where Kang shows up and kills him and then takes his place.
Right.
But ultimately, yeah, he created the TVA and the timekeepers to keep all the different realities in order. And in those stories, the timekeepers are real beings. They're not robots. So they're playing off it a lot, but it's still very different from actually what's going on. But yeah, he's just an overarching, overpowering being that's managing these group of three who then manage the entire TVA. He also, in the comics, created another group of timekeepers called Time Twisters. And basically, he had the timekeepers and time twisters, and the time twisters turned into basically just evil variants of the timekeepers, who took all the power and just totally manipulated the timelines and realities to really give themselves all the power. They ended up getting snipped pretty quick though, but a cool little story. So there's a possibility that he's in it. He's not a bad guy in the comics though. He's just kind of a being that exists to manage all this time. He's not manipulating timelines or pruning people or anything like that. He just sort of exists. So I don't think that it's him. I think whoever it is going to end up to being is going to be some sort of villain. And that's why I do think it is Kang. And then ultimately, whether this is Kang's origin story or we just get an introduction, when we do find out Kang's origin story, I think we'll see him going in from a different timeline or different reality and wiping out He Who Remains, becoming the leader of the TVA. Right. And when he does that, I would assume he would also just kill the timekeepers too, and then just, create these fake ones to make sure everything keeps going and no one uncovers him and what he's doing.
Agreed. And is it I what I do know about Kang is he is called Kang the Conqueror for a reason. He goes and he travels through time, and he is the master of time travel, and he conquers all he who cannot be conquered, all of the greats, there's even, isn't there a storyline where he like kills King Tut and takes over Egypt or something like that? I think I read that somewhere.
Yeah. He like teleported to Egypt in a Sphinx-shaped time traveling machine, which ultimately became why the Egyptians had such big monuments to the Sphinx. And then he kills King Tut and then just rules Egypt for a while, just kind of hangs out. And in that storyline, he actually invents mutants, with Apocalypse being the first mutant that he invents in Egypt. Of course, we kind of saw that origin story in X-Men Apocalypse, so we got Apocalypse there, but they totally butchered him and totally butchered his origin story. I'm not sure if they were allowed to use Kang the Conqueror, if the X-Men properties were, but Kang the Conqueror, I totally just went off on a tangent, but in that storyline, goes to Egypt, kills King Tut. He's why Egyptians honor the Sphinxes, and he creates mutants.
Right. And so we already know, and just kind of playing into this Kang point, we already know he is pretty much like the conqueror of time and timelines. And, it seems as though it would make sense as if it seems to make sense that he would have this all sacred timeline in which he wins and he gets what he wants. Or this all-knowing being that, has this sacred timeline that they feel is, what they want with the universe and things, moving the way that he wants them. It only seems as though it's all things kind of point back to it being Kang, because,
right.
Like I said, he is portrayed to be obsessed with, time, and is the master of time, is the key, not the keeper of timelines, but definitely the master manipulator of them.
Right. And that might even go all the way back to when we were talking about why specifically Loki's, because maybe he's just going after all these Lokis because he knows that really they're the only ones that have any kind of threat of taking down his power, of being the person who gets to manipulate all these different realities and timelines and things like that, because Loki is so obsessed to conquer and rule something and so desperate to find that ultimately it just keeps leading him to the TVA. So let's just prune them while they're vulnerable.
Right. And so maybe when they went to go get Sylvie, maybe they were like, okay, now we have to, we're done giving him the chance to stop trying to screw this up. We need to start going for the kids now, because as we see that they have now pretty much tried to prune one and have pruned another. So, they pruned Kid Loki, and we don't know for sure, but it was probably headed that way. They were going to try to prune Sylvie as a child. So,
and even just a point on why maybe Sylvie was kind of the first straw, or like the last straw, and then it went to Sylvie of, okay, we're done with this, start taking them out early. We don't know how old she really is. We know time works differently in the TVA. We have no clue how much time has actually passed here. So the Loki that we knew and came up with, he could be significantly older than Sylvie was. So we know Asgardians live for thousands and thousands of years. So yeah, like he could have been way older, but she's been hopping around these timelines and things like that. So like, I don't know. I'm not sure if they probably won't get into that. I think they're
That's a
going to
lot
play
to
her
dig
up as
into.
older than him, but yeah, we don't know. Like he could be older than her, and they went for him as an adult because they saw he was going to get close to, trying to find that power. And so it's like, okay, time to get this guy. And then, three more. And then it's like, let's just get them when they're kids. The whole,
They took the Star Wars route. Fuck them kids. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's great.
they
I'm
took the
in.
route that Rhodey wanted to take when they were talking about killing Thanos. Why don't we just go to when he's a baby and just
It's, it's the whole philosophical question: would you kill baby Hitler? You know what I mean? And
yeah.
the answer is usually a resounding no, because free will kind of thing. He could end up being whoever, but it appears that the TVA would in fact kill baby Hitler given the chance. We can confirm that pretty much at this point. So yeah,
So
I
TVA,
think.
why didn't you? Huh?
Why didn't you?
What
Because
gives?
right, what
Dude, I love
gives?
I love the TikToks where it's like so like the TikToks of the TVA. It's like the one is like it's 2000 whatever. You're a parent trying to prevent your kid from falling into the gorilla exhibit. The TVA.
Dude, Pearl Harbor, 9/11. But
Yeah, they got
Loki's
some explaining
so
to do.
bad. You know what
They
I
got some
mean?
explaining to do.
Right. I don't want to fucking hear it at this point. The TVA is not there
Oh,
to
but
protect
major
nobody.
major Easter egg alert. I totally forgot about this one. I forgot to put it in my notes, but we mentioned Thanos. So Mobius dropped a huge bomb on us when he said, we see we
Ah,
we've seen Kree come through here, we've seen Titans, even vampires, and a couple demigods are giving you issues. So Titans, we know that's the race of Thanos. Kree, we know those are the blue people, Captain Marvel's planet, and then vampires.
let's
Which
go.
let's go. Vampires in the MCU. We knew we were going there because we're getting the reinstallment of Blade. And then we're also on the Fox side of things getting a villain movie with Jared Leto. I believe he's called what's his name? It's super close to Mobius. It's like oh my God, what's it called? But we know that he's a classic Spider-Man villain and a Blade
Morbius.
villain. Morbius.
Yes.
It's literally just Morbius.
It's fucking Morbius.
It's Mobius with an R. Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew it was ridiculously close.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck
so
that.
he's a vampire that exists in the Marvel comics. We know Blade is a vampire hunter.
Right.
So, I mean, we did know it was coming, but it was just super cool to have
Oh, absolutely.
Mobius
Well, and
reference Morbius.
another thing that's fun isn't Titans a bit of an homage to Eternals?
It
I
kind of, yeah, they a little bit. So the Titans,
trying to think here. Hold on
they,
here.
yeah, they kind of like mix or like mate with Eternals sometimes. So Thanos is a Titan. He was a person on Titan. He had a defective gene though, and that's why
Okay.
he was all purple and ball
Gotcha.
sack chin. Uh, so shoot, I mean, right off the spot, the connections are falling for me, but
Yeah.
Thanos' home planet was Titan. So
Okay. And it's just a vague. I mean, here's what
which
Deneki
also
has.
could be why they
Marvel.
have so many Infinity Stones. They just
Right.
keep napping Thanos. It'd be so funny if, like, in the finale or something, we just see Big Purple in the background, just walking through the doors, like.
I think it would be so funny that like we didn't see this, but it actually took Thanos like 5,000 tries to actually get all of these Infinity Stones because they kept popping up on him. They're like, nope, we'll take those, and he's like, fuck. But
Yeah.
yeah, that is super cool. So we do know that and then Kree are those the natural enemies of the Asgardians? No.
No, of the scrolls.
Captain, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Of
So,
this.
and we actually saw in episode 1 there was a scroll in the TVA
Right.
lobby in the
Right.
background, and then of course there were scrolls in the Spider-Man movie, Far From Home, as well as the Captain Marvel finale, or Captain Marvel, WandaVision finale post-credit scene. So Skrulls are for sure coming. They're going to be a huge deal when Marvel finally moves into Secret Invasion. They're going to be major players in that. So keep your eyes open.
Pretty cool.
Not that that's going to help you tell if someone's a Skrull, but yeah,
You never know.
they're coming. They're going to be big players.
Okay, I guess the number 47 appears a lot in the show. I just think that's super interesting because it's got a super deep connection to science fiction and kind of nerd culture. Star Trek: The Next Generation, that number appears frequently due to I think the writers of Star Trek Generation went to a college where a study was done, and the number 47 is the most commonly used or thought of number there is. So, and also in Hitman, just, kind of going into nerd culture, Hitman is agent number 47. That could all just be a coincidence, but I like to think that it was a little bit of an homage to at least Star Trek and the number 47 being so embedded in nerd culture, I suppose.
Yeah, good. Cool catch there.
But yeah, I mean that's all I really have. I mean, wrapping up, do you have anything for us?
Not really, man. Episode 5, Tom Hiddleston said that in an interview that episode 4 and 5 together, like as one, are his like favorite piece of Marvel stuff. So I'm super pumped. I mean, there's no way they do another like slower episode. So we'll see. I think we're gonna get a lot of him interacting with even more versions of himself. So like you said, there's gonna be a lot of comic relief in that. So I think that's gonna be really cool. As well as I think we're also gonna get a lot of Ravonna Renslayer's story to Sylvie on what the heck is going on, what actually happened to the timekeepers, because I think they were real at some point.
Right.
I do think Kang kind of came in and killed them, took them out, and just threw these robots in here to cover it up. But yeah, I think we're going to get her explanation too on what's going on.
Now, isn't there a version of the comics in which the timekeepers catch Kang and I guess kind of they pardon him and they allow him to live in the void? Is that where, because what is the city he created, not created, but where is his his city?
Oh, it's called like Quantopolis or something
Like
it's
that,
in the quantum realm. He lives in the quantum realm,
which we know is in the quantum realm. So could this be
it's either Quantopolis or like Kangopolis, something like that.
Something, but yeah, and so like you said, we see it in the quantum realm in the background, and with it is confirmed because Marvel kind of said, hey, you guys aren't catching on. I'm going to push you in the right direction. Here is this shot. Take a very good look at it. And a lot of people
goddamn, you break down every single frame of everything else we've ever put out and analyze it deeply, better than the FBI can. But you missed this one. You missed the one important one.
So they had to put it out and go, hey, this is important. You guys are missing it. And
well, guys, there might be an Easter egg in Ant-Man 2 that no one's talking about.
So, and could that be the TVA? There's a okay chance, but I like to think that's where Kang's hanging out, because we do know that that is where he kind of resides, is somewhere along the lines of the quantum realm, because we do know that he he can time travel and I guess shapeshift, not really shapeshift, but shift dimensions. We do know that. So
yeah, I think it makes most sense that city in the background of Ant-Man and the Wasp is where Kang is, because he is going to be one of the villains in Ant-Man 3. We know it's called Quantum Mania. So again, we're going to go even deeper into the quantum realm and how it works. So I think it just makes sense that that's more his place rather than being the TVA.
Right. And I'm trying to find the damn name of that city, and I can't find it. But anyway, right. And there's so much going on here. There's so much going on here. so much at
Chronopolis.
play. Chronopolis, thank you.
Yeah. I knew it
Um,
was something Opolis. Yeah.
right, with when you kind of think chronology,
Yeah, it
Chronopolis.
exists
It's
outside of time.
right.
So,
So and that's could that could that just be Marvel saying, hey, this is Kang's confirmed in Ant-Man 2, you know, could that just be saying, hey, they're going to go back to the quantum realm and go to this city? Could that not have anything to do with Loki? Sure. But I have a good feeling with the way they're playing with time, the way they're playing with realities, the way they're playing with dimensions in here. I can't help but let my brain kind of wander and go, hey, is that where they're going?
right. Right. Yeah, man, I say it every week, but I'm pumped for the next
I'm
episode
so stoked.
to see where we're going. I'm glad this episode was kind of a, hey guys, look in the mirror. Shut the hell up about Loki having the time stone. Shut up about the whole temp pad being an illusion. Shut up about the whole episode being an enchantment. We're building a story here, guys.
Well,
So,
I kind of want to return to the whole time stone thing, and I don't know if I want to give up on that just yet.
okay.
Because you got to think. I guess that magic does work where he was, and we do know that magic did work. And it doesn't necessarily him with the dust going backwards. That doesn't necessarily mean that he is reversing the time of it, but it it's still something worth going on. You know what I mean? So I don't
Mhm.
know if I'm necessarily ready to give up on that one yet, but
Yeah, I wasn't. I was ready for him to use it as the planet was crashing down. So, but of course the TVA showed up. But dude, I was ready for him to be like, well, I know I can trust you now, and then like do something and they get out. That's honestly what I thought was gonna happen. But obviously this episode was incredible. So yeah, I think five. I don't know how episode five tops episode four.
well, it's going to be hard, but I think these next two episodes are going to be absolutely nuts. I told people, like you told me, I said this was the best, one of the best things I've ever seen from Marvel. So um
Yeah.
they've got a lot to roll. They've got a lot to roll with. They definitely kind of
It was just
set the
so
bar.
unexpected too, and it showed us that like there's consequences for things. That like these things can happen, but of course it happens to Loki, who
Right.
just doesn't die.
You can't kill him. I'm a bad bitch. You can't kill me. It's that
I know.
mentality. I love
He
it.
even says it to the timekeepers. He's like, "Dude, I've died 1,000 times. Just
Right.
go ahead, try."
Go ahead.
Like, yeah, like okay, yeah, okay, kill me,
So
sure.
well, which
Good luck.
also is kind of fun, because that kind of plays on the fact that it was foreshadowing. You know, they're gonna kill him, and he's not gonna actually be killed. Loki.
Yeah, yeah,
He,
excellent foreshadowing.
which
I gasped
also,
when it happened. I literally
right?
did.
I
I was
see.
sitting in my bed, and I went,
Oh, 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 and then I'm kind of
"Where's he
going.
going? Where's he going?"
I hit those credits and I was like, he's not dead. And then mid credit, he wakes up. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, there we go.
yeah.
But so yeah, oh man, I truly have nothing. I mean, with WandaVision, I don't know. You know what? No, we don't have nothing usually. We've been pretty damn right about this show so far. I think you and I.
Yeah,
Other
yeah,
than
no, absolutely. I think last episode we kind of took a dip in the wrong direction, but we did get
right,
like as far as like talking about what's going on, but we did get the thing right of episode 3 of these workers and Mobius being
right,
variants that were
and I
plucked
think
away.
I think
I
we
think that was pretty
briefly.
huge. I don't think that was like there's
No,
definitely other people out there that mentioned it, but there weren't people that kind of really rode hard for it like we were. We were
you heard
definitely
it here
like,
first. We
that's
also
huge. That's
I
huge.
I think I remember us getting into kind of mentioning that the timekeepers might be a facade. Now I can't remember that for sure, but something tells me I
I think we
feel like
specifically said something like the Wizard of Oz in
And
episode 1 or 2
I
recap.
think you said, and that's what I was sitting there. I was watching a YouTube video, and I'm going, I am almost positive Tommy said something along the lines of, "This is a Wizard of Oz type of thing." So, all those YouTubers out there, you need to give Tommy his credit, because
Please,
I will be
please shout it
suing.
out.
Yeah, shout us out, and I won't sue. But until
Everything
then,
Always, Cosmic Wonder, New Rock Stars. Just say, hey, they got it.
give us.
No, I'm kidding. I don't care. Dude, I love those channels.
Cosmic Wonder's dope. Truly.
Yep.
I don't want to take attention away from our little show here, but Cosmic Wonder is fucking awesome. And if you're watching this for whatever goddamn reason, thanks for tuning in. But you make some awesome shit.
Yeah, dude, like I would love to, like I envy that, like they have like that following where they can literally just, it's worth it for them to sit down and make a whole 15-minute video specifically on one 30-second portion. Like
Right.
that's so awesome. They can, like, they have their own like long form podcasts, but then they're able to go back and of course make 15-minute bits where they do
Right.
really deep dive, awesome explainers. Like I love that stuff. And like as someone who's read the comics, it's like, yeah. And it's like, oh, that's so awesome.
Well,
So subscribe to the video or subscribe to our channel so that it can be worth it for us to do that for you too.
Right.
So you don't have to keep sitting through these hour-long episodes.
Right. Maybe Tommy and I hit short form here, not obviously I would never abandon this podcast with you, Tommy. But maybe we start doing some short form shit. You know what I mean? So if we
Well, our first short form was actually our worst performing video ever. So
hey, you gotta start somewhere, baby. Okay.
but we
well,
never do anything right.
Do you have truly? Okay. Well, closing statements. Do you have any?
No, I mean I gave mine.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna rock with the whole plot line of
Agreed.
He Who Remains existed and the timekeepers existed, but Kang came through, wiped them out, and put in these fake timekeepers.
Okay. I agree. I think it's, Kang's kind of pulling the strings, but He Who Remains is also kind of there too, maybe before. And then, like you said, Kang kind of fuck shit up. But other than that, it's come to that time. Please hit us on the socials. Subscribe, like, turn on notifications for this YouTube video. Subscribe, tell your friends. We are on, are we on Apple yet? Not just yet.
I think you were supposed to set that up.
Yeah, I know I was. We're getting there. I'm not so good with this technological shit. I'm figuring it out though. But we are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, as you might know. But if you are on our Spotify, please head on over to our YouTube. It's just New Era Nerds. You should be able to find it no issue. But hit us on Twitter and Instagram, New Era Nerds Pod, and on TikTok, New_Era_Pod, or is it just New_Era_Nerds?
New_Era_Nerds. We post. I'm starting to post more like episode highlights on there.
Right.
So very, very short form, just like quick 30-second clips of some highlights. So, I'm starting to work on those. So,
right.
And then I post them on the Instagram as well. And of course, then we're also still doing the $50 Amazon gift card giveaway for YouTube. Very easy. All you have to do is subscribe, like this video, and then comment done, as well as one part of the video that you liked. The giveaway is at 50 subscribers. So that's some pretty good odds of winning if you do it.
Right. We are getting pretty close to that goal. We're obviously not super close, but we're
inching there. We're inching there.
We are getting there slowly but surely every single day. So, you might want to jump on that now. Head on over to our YouTube and subscribe. And also, like I mentioned, like, comment, and turn on notifications. It helps us get more popular, helps us boost to other, people. And, if you're listening, you obviously wish success upon us. So do those things. We really appreciate it. So without further ado, I guess we will go ahead and close this episode. Thanks everybody for stopping by. Tommy, love you, buddy.
Love you too.